Hello and welcome to the part 1 of Microsoft Excel course for beginners. Before we begin this course, let us discuss what all we are going to cover in this course. So as you can see over here, we have 8 parts. The entire course is being divided into 8 parts and each part will cover a different topic. And in each part we will try to learn the concepts with the help of an example. So in the first part, which is introduction to spreadsheet, we'll be going through all these topics, that what is a spreadsheet, how we can open MS Excel using various ways. We'll try and create a blank worksheet, and once a blank worksheet is created, we will learn what are the components of the Microsoft Excel window. So before we start with the concept and before we start part 1, let's see how we can open MS Excel. Let's move on to that. There are various ways to open MS Excel application. You can have a shortcut icon on the desktop. You can double click on that will open Excel for you. You can go to Windows. From here you can scroll down and look for Excel. You can click over here, the Excel application will open for you. Another way is you can type in the search box, you can type Excel, it will show you the Excel application. From here also you can click and open Excel. Another way is if you have a icon pinned on your taskbar, you can click over there, then too your application will open. So there are various ways in which you can open Microsoft Excel application. Let's move on to opening the application. Once your MS Excel application opens, the screen which comes up in front of you looks like this. This is known as the starting interface, your startup screen or your splash screen. Here you can see on the left hand side there are various options available: home, new, open. On the top you have various options of creating a blank worksheet. If you have earlier worked on some workbook or a sheet, that will show you that will be displayed in the recent items. You can see over here. This is, I'm using Office 365. This is the latest version, but if you are using an earlier version like 2007 or 2010, a different interface, the first screen which opens in front of you, it will look differently. No need to worry, the features and the applications in this application, whatever features and functionality we are using, more or less everything will be the same. 99% of the functionality we are going to discuss over here will be the same. Let's move on to opening a blank workbook. So as I told you, you can click on any of these options over here. These are the various inbuilt templates which are available for you, but we'll work with a blank workbook. You just have to double click, it will open the blank workbook for you. Now this is your main window. Your Excel window is open in front of you. Here the window itself is divided into various parts. As you can see at the top, we have the title bar which has various components. We have the file tab. These are all tabs over here. With the tab we have ribbons, and each ribbon in turn is divided into various groups, and in those groups we have additional features with them. Then you have a grid like area over here in front of you where you actually enter the data. We'll be discussing all these things in a while. Let's take one thing at a time. So here we have a blank workbook open in front of us, and we'll try to understand what is the functionality of each of these parts. So at the top you have the title bar. The title bar itself is divided into two parts. On the left hand side you have, as you can see over here, you have the quick access toolbar. On the right hand side you have, over here you can see you have the minimize, maximize and the restore button. So on the left hand side you have your quick access toolbar, and on the right hand side you have the buttons which you will use to maximize, minimize or close the application. Now when you are working with the quick access toolbar, over here you can see we have only 2 or 3 options available, but you can always add new commands to it. Now the purpose of having a quick access toolbar is that most frequently used commands can be put over here, like saving or if you want to use undo or redo or print options, those commands can be placed over here. Now below the title bar you have something known as tabs. You can see over here, these are the tabs: file tab, home tab, insert tab. You can click on each one of these and you will be moved to their respective tabs. Below the tabs you have something known as the ribbon. Now each tab has a ribbon associated with this. Now each ribbon has different functionalities. If we look over here, with the home tab we have a ribbon over here which has clipboard, font, alignment, numbers, style, cells. These are all the various categories or groups associated with a tab. On the bottom right hand corner you have something known as the, where you can see the arrow pointing towards the down, this one, this arrow over here. You can see this arrow. This is the dialog box launcher, which we use to get additional features, or we get a dialog box where we can use the additional features. Now let's see each of these tabs. If I click on insert over here, the ribbon changes. You can see different sets of groups over here: tables, add-ins, charts, and it's not necessary that each of these groups will have a dialog box launcher. Only when you need some additional features, there you'll get these dialog box launchers. So we'll be working around with all these tabs in the upcoming parts. Now let's move on to the home tab. Now below, so you have the title bar, you have these tabs over here, and each tab has a ribbon. Below the ribbon on the left hand side you have the name box. This is your name box. This is your name box, and it will show you the current location or the location of the active cell. For example, if you look at this grid over here, you can see this box, the small box being highlighted over here. This is your active cell, or the cell where my pointer is currently, my cursor and the pointer is currently placed, where you can enter the data. So your name box will show the location of that particular cell. Now if I click over here in this particular cell, it is B3, so you can see the location B3. We'll come to cell addressing in a while. So but just keep in mind, your name box will show you the location of the current or the active cell. Next to the name box we have something known as the formula bar. You can see over here, this is your formula bar. This one is your formula bar, you can see over here. Now the formula bar will show the data which you enter in your active cell. What if you are entering some numbers or characters, it will be displayed in the formula bar. Either you can add the data directly in the cell, or you can add the data in the formula bar itself. Both the ways are available, both the options are available for you. Okay, so we have the name box, we have the formula bar. Below the name box and the formula bar, you can see over here we have some alphabets A, B, C, D. These are your column headers. Now Now a grid, this is your grid area. The grid is divided into small cells. Now these cells are, how will you know ki you are working in which particular cell? So each of these cells have a address. So this address, we create this address, or this address is created with a combination of your column headings and the row numbers. So at the top you have your column headings in the form of A, B, C, D or alphabets. On the left hand side you have the row numbers starting from 1, 2, 3, 4 and going up on in a series. So if I click on this particular cell, so my name box is showing C3, that is the location of this particular cell. If I click on this particular box, G, you can see the column header is G and the row number is 4, so it is G4. So these are your cells. A cell is a intersection of your row and column. It has a, the location is shown with the help of a column heading and a row number. Now once you open a blank workbook or any workbook, you can see at the bottom something known as sheet 1. So this is first sheet in this particular workbook. I can always click on this plus button over here to add a new sheet. If I click over here, a new sheet will be added to it. I'm using Office 365. By default it is showing only sheet 1, but if you're using an earlier version like 2007, it will show you 3 sheets, sheet 1, sheet 2, sheet 3 by default. So a little bit difference is there in the interface or the layout, but you can always add a new sheet by clicking on this plus button over here. Let's move on to the first sheet itself. On the right hand side and at the bottom you have something known as your scroll bars. If you have lots of data in your worksheet, you can always use this scroll bar to navigate around in your sheet. Below the sheet tabs you have your status bar. Now status bar will show you the current sheet, your sheet numbers, current sheet numbers. You have different views over here. We'll work with the views also, plus the zoom controller. You can always use it to zoom in and zoom out in your worksheet area. So these are the most commonly used components of your Excel application. The first interface which opens for you. Here we have the title bar, the tabs we have already discussed. Each tab has a ribbon, and below the ribbon on the left hand side you have the name box, on the right hand side you have the formula bar, and below the name box and the formula bar you have column headers, and on the left hand side row numbers. Now your column and row number together will form the location or the address of the current cell. You have sheets. You can always work with different sheets. You can add a number of sheets to your workbook. You can scroll up and down in your worksheet, or you can navigate through your worksheet using the scroll bars. You can enlarge the work areas using the scroll controllers over here. Plus you have the various view buttons for working around with various commands and various options in your worksheet. So we have a blank workbook over here. In the next part we will learn how to create a new workbook, how to save the workbook, and plus if we have already created a workbook, how we can open and work with the existing workbook. That's all for now. We will see you in the next part. Thank you.